Welcome to the Carbitrage podcast, episode 184. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky. Hello. Okay, Basil Houndstooth, or whatever the hell your British name might be.
That'd be Nigel Thornberry. He said smashing.
Well, he did. But yeah, your nose isn't nearly big enough to be a Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel knows would be awesome.
Maybe someday you'll get that.
Like a Nigel schnoz and that kind of mustache. Boy, howdy.
Anyway, hopping right into it, let's cover beer. I am having a Paulaner München Grapefruit Radler.
Funny.
I love these, but I recently found out they're less than 3% alcohol, and that makes me sad.
I'm drinking a Paulaner real beer, which is the original Munich lager.
Very fine.
It is delicious.
It's a good beer.
It is not warm, so I don't have the real flavor, but it's good.
How about a nice warm lager? Would you? What do they call it? Cask? Would you like a cask?
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. That would actually taste pretty good warm. Like, just the flavor profile is obviously designed to taste okay warm.
As long as you can make your teeth worse, I think that could be passable.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, it is delicious though.
I'm glad you enjoy.
We need to talk about Patreon and the fact that Dylan is here.
Well, let me do Patreon first, and you can cover the fact that Dylan's here. Head on over to patreon.com/Carbitrage. Patreon is a direct support mechanism for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. Head on over to our personalized page at patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this page, you will find two open-ended levels of support that help us pay for beer and hosting costs and also get you some neat swag. Patreon.com/Carbitrage.
So, Dylan, our episode from the next episode.
From the future.
Our guest from the future has some of our swag. He's got a podcast koozie.
Podcast.
One of the...
Brought to you by Podcast.
It's podcast.
Podcast.
I dropped it.
I mean, yeah, you could mispronounce it however they misspelled it, but yes, he is here in the future because of reasons, and welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast from the future.
Thank you for having me in the past.
Yes.
No problem. We are
in the future.
Glad to be here with
the
you.
past, which is the future.
Yeah, the future is the past.
The cybernetic ghost from Christmas Past.
It's basically just Cyberdyne systems.
Yes. Now, I do have to make a correction to our actual last episode 183.
Okay.
I mentioned the Mazda, or the REM Mimiya Mazda Shantas.
You did indeed.
Yes. I mentioned that it was a 200-mile-an-hour car. It was only a 150-mile-an-hour car.
Wow. I would feel like I've been robbed in the past.
Yes, of your, 165 series
There go my
radial
stocks.
tire. Radial tire still going way faster than is any business ever going. It would still be just as terrifying. So, and it also...
I'm speechless.
It did also have over 260 horsepower, though. That is correct.
But good. I'm glad you only had one incorrect fact.
Yeah, only one incorrect fact.
Actually, we could offer it as alternative facts, which would be marketed as fake news these days.
Yes,
Which
I mean, it's so...
that's still news.
If you don't believe in masks, then believe it's a 200-mile-an-hour car.
Perfect.
If you are the sort of person that graduated high school, then believe it's a 150-mile-per-hour car.
Yes, the correction is actually the truth. But
Yes.
if you believe in alternative facts, then 200 is just fine.
Yeah, there we go. Now, I believe it's time for your topic. The first topic.
I'll take that as a segue. Sure, why not? So,
Yours.
we've talked at great length about the ID Buzz, the thing that Scott has pre-ordered, which is going to be based on Volkswagen's MEB platform. They have started production as of last August with the ID3, which in Europe is a Golf replacement, essentially, a small hatchback. Pretty great car, rear-wheel drive, pretty reasonable mileage with about a 60 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Great. Awesome. Let's visit that. The first one we get in the States is called the ID4. And if you had guessed that, it kind of goes along with the number of doors, which means it's a CUV, because of course it's not going to be a sedan.
Hooray.
So here it is on the screen. You can see
Why don't
the
they just
ID.
call it the electric rabbit?
I believe the Travel Rabbit is something,
Probably gets sued by Energizer.
or the company that makes the Travel Rabbit, which is a personal pleasure
Yes.
device.
Oh.
Yes, that was the reference.
Okay.
Yep. Well, it's remote controlled. It's just great for travel. So, the ID4 is a CUV, which is...
I apologize.
That's just fine.
That is how I feel about that car. It's so unimportant. I'll just.
But let
it
me
get
just illustrate
interrupted.
why this is still not entirely terrible. So it's rear-wheel drive.
Yes,
so when
that
was the
is
last time you
interesting.
saw a rear-wheel drive CUV? Like the first gen BMW X1? Like that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. The Bronco 2.
It's not a CUV,
I know.
though.
What about the Lamborghini Anus? That's all-wheel
All-wheel drive.
The Maserati Levante.
All-wheel drive.
So is this solely rear-wheel drive? There's no
It is.
all-wheel drive option?
Correct.
The
Interesting.
the Porsche Macaroon.
That's not a CUV.
It kind of is.
The Macon.
Macan?
Oh, the
Macan?
Macon? That's
Yeah,
not rear-wheel
Macaroon.
drive.
The Macaroon.
It's a rear-wheel drive
It's a
platform.
Porsche Macon.
So
So
it is a rear-wheel drive platform, correct? That has a
No.
flat six, not a V6?
No, it's got a V6.
Oh, never mind. It's probably
It's
transverse.
based loosely on a Q5.
Garbage.
Yeah, it's trash. So anyway, this is the
Oh,
only
it's
rear-wheel
all
drive
it's
CUV,
all a bit rubbish. Yeah.
except for the X1, which is based on the E93 series. So a little bit of a letdown in power. It's got basically Chevy Bolt
And
level
a
power.
lot of a letdown on the CV.
200 horsepower. That's it,
Oh,
Okay.
and it's heavy. But $40,000
sucks.
base price. These are still fully eligible for the $7,500 tax credit.
Okay.
So $32,500 for a brand new, and the first editions are fully freaking loaded, and they're already sold out. So like these, at least are popular enough. But this will be our first taste in the United States of the MEB platform, which will underpin a lot of shit going forward.
this sounds really terrible.
So yeah, don't buy one because it's a CUV. But like, I'm just talking about its specs and then what that means for hopefully bringing the buzz in a little bit sooner. I think that's good. But like bump up the power for sake. I mean, it's only 200 horsepower. I drove a Bolt down at Fully Charged Live in February and it was fine, but that was 500 pounds lighter than this.
I'm curious about the so when you're trying to make like an electric vehicle or a hypermiling car, you want very narrow tires. But
Yeah.
being solely available as rear-wheel drive and with a lot of relative torque at low RPM or low wheel speed,
Yeah.
you'd think they'd want to offset that by putting a wider tire on it. So either it's gonna like
Oh, it's gonna be a bit shit.
they have to accept a detriment one way or the other.
They artificially limit torque. It's very common on
yeah.
all two-wheel drive EVs. Even on my car, which is all-wheel drive, they still cut it until you hit a certain
I forget
speed.
about that.
And it's seamless, but it's also annoying because I would
Yeah.
rather light up the tires and there's no option
Exactly.
for
That was my next question. Burnouts.
that. Some can, some can't. My brother's Nero, when he had it, like, it's 230 horsepower, and yeah, if you hit the button, it's
Does
single
he
stage.
still have that, or did they buy it back?
I think he's getting paid out to keep it, as far as I understand. We're going to have him on for an entire episode when this is all done. The motor is incoming from New Jersey right now, apparently. They have finally diagnosed it.
The
Yeah.
Kia Niro, the little subcompact
The
crossover
EV
thing?
one, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
he bought it out of the PNW, shipped it here, drove it for 500 miles, and was like, this is making the motor noise, which is really common on all 2019s. They just didn't vet the motor before they put it into production. And it's a long story. So we'll get into that. But I need to cover EV shit, because, like, these for daily drivers are just a no-brainer. Like, having fun, stupid, broken gas vehicles is awesome. I will always have them. But being able to go from A to B without any question or concern is really
I'm
nice.
not gonna lie. I kind of want to get a Mitsubishi i-MiEV and put on a Mitsuoka like front end.
Like the Oreshi front end?
No, Mitsuoka made a version. If you look up Mitsuoka like, Mitsuouka.
I know how to spell Mitsuoka, but how do you spell the model?
Like.
Oh, okay. I
Like.
thought it was going to be like Leyg.
No, it's called the Mitsuoka like.
Oh, God.
I think that'd be kind of cool on an i-MiEV. It's a super easy swap.
Wow.
Would you hop it up like one of the Australian ones?
Yes, absolutely. In Australia, they've been inundated with these cars.
Sure.
And so what people have discovered
Quad
is
projectors.
if you put in like custom battery kits and stuff, like now people are hot rodding i-MiEVs in Australia, and like while they're still like not super fast, they're still enough to like upset people with like stock Holden Commodores.
Sure.
So it's still enough to like upset somebody with a muscle car from a drag from like a stoplight drag.
I can see the appeal in that.
Yeah, it sounds hilarious.
Cannot
and
see
it's
the
rear-wheel
appeal in
drive.
that front end, though.
And it's well, if you look at the normal.
Well,
front
it's a
end,
Mitsuoka.
Look
so
at the normal front end of the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, and it makes sense.
This is better. It is better.
Okay.
It is better than the normal i-MiEV because
Not good, but it is better.
it is better. Yes,
So,
and also I think like all in that whole project might cost me maybe $5,000. So
true. Yeah,
i-MiEVs are worthless.
you can pick one up in the threes. Yeah. If
they're-
you want the cheapest driving EV in the country that supports J1772 charging,
Mm-hmm.
get yourself an iMIEV.
Yeah, I think it's the top tip, and actually it's a super cool JDMK car. Like,
yeah,
if you're...
if you travel less than 35 miles a day, just go for it.
And that's what I'd be using it for. I'd be using it for, like, driving to the Cub Foods and the Target, which are about 10 minutes away, which is across the street. But I've got the stupid light rail in the way. So it's about 10 minutes
I
away.
like the light rail.
I know, but the thing is it screws up the lights, because what it'll do is the light will change to allow one car to turn left.
Yep.
If the trains are, like, even, like, a few seconds off schedule, because the lights are scheduled with when the trains should be running. And then when what they're actually running is different. So what you'll get is it'll be turning left to go southbound on Snelling from westbound University, which is how I get on the highway. And it will let one car through, the trains will come through, the trains will be mistimed, it will let everybody else in the world go through, and it will literally take you 5 minutes to get through this light. And if there's more than 5 cars, you're better off just driving down to Vandalia and then cutting across. Yeah, it's awful.
Sounds
pretty much
like
true.
ye old trains. You know, they used to call them trains in Mankato.
Yeah, I really wish that we had, like, a subway system. That would be cool. Then I wouldn't have to deal with this.
Yeah, that hasn't made it over to the east side yet, really. I mean, it goes to downtown, but even to take the Green Line, I'm just like, well, I still have to walk or drive to it.
You don't have to deal with the Green Line. I've got the Green Line right in my backyard. However, I know exactly when, like, it's like a timer because I hear the train horns. It's pretty nice, actually. I kind of like that. So I still love my house.
Soothing.
It's soothing. I love my house. I got a pet possum in my backyard now, so I'm thrilled. So I've got
We'll call it an honorary pet.
I have nothing to complain about.
Comrade Possum.
Anyway,
Comrade.
so speaking of bucking the trend, with me being the one person in St. Paul, it doesn't like light rail, at least for timing. Though I'm not gonna lie, the light rail is great because I can like go to the farmer's market without turning on my car. Speaking of bucking the trend, though, did you know the Corvair is actually not depreciating like every other American muscle car or American car from the 1960s period?
I honestly never paid close enough attention, even though, like, my uncle's first car was a Corvair, and he was shopping for one a while ago. We found one. I have not paid attention to the pricing over time.
Yeah, I was writing a Corvair for Bring a Trailer, and I looked at our graph, and I noticed that they're actually appreciating a little bit. If you look at it,
interesting.
Yes.
yeah, they're really cool
Very.
cars. So if you actually bring up the graph on bringatrailer.com,
Well, I'll bring up the link you had.
which if you scroll down, there's a graph.
I always forget about the wagons.
There we go.
But if you look at
Wow.
that, there is a slight upward trend after initially depreciating at the beginning of Bring a Trailer.
God, these are all over the place.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about the quality. But if you actually look at that graph as you're getting your higher priced ones, like you're really...
Well, I mean, 68 and newer is going to bring you more money. Getting a 4-carb or a Monza or a turbo is going to bring you more money.
Exactly.
Getting an odd body is going to make you more money. So-
and that's exactly it. And so, like, the car I wrote was a 4-carb Monza.
Yeah, my uncle is a 68 4-carb Monza convertible.
But this one's a 4-carb Monza coupe with factory air conditioner equipped. It doesn't work, but it's equipped. And a manual transmission, but it needs, like, restoration. So, but
Is
it's
it
like
this
it's
one
running
right
driving.
here?
Yeah, it's that one. It's the top one. It's a cool car. Like, I actually-
65 though.
Sorry, 65. But I mean, like, it's got actually the 65. It was, I think it's 67. They got rid of the factory air conditioning option.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
even though you got the better quote unquote suspension, you didn't get AC.
Yeah, so you could actually, for the first few years of the second generation, you can get the better suspension like this car has with the air conditioner. So this one's actually the one you want. It's a 65 because you have the better suspension, you got the air conditioner, you have the cool interior and everything.
That's a coupe, which
Yeah,
is
it's a
worth
coupe.
a bit more than the convertible.
And this one needs some restoration. What's it out right now? I think it's at like
$2,700.
$2,700. Yeah. So I mean, this one, I don't know what's gonna close at, but I mean, like right now, like it's definitely in an affordable place. I think it'll obviously go up from here because like Bring a Trailer usually like doubles.
What is that intake?
Well, it's a twin horn, but you're seeing underneath it, it's got a 4
Oh,
spider.
It's
Sure.
a Spider 4-carb intake. That's why I thought too. I go, whoa, that's cool. And I looked, I'm like, oh, it's like 4-carb.
Yeah.
The guy didn't like
Wow.
his submission did not tell me
What do
anything.
they have for carburetors? Like Weber?
Strombergs.
Strombergs?
Yeah,
Okay.
just some Stromberg downdrafts. It's a really cool setup.
Yeah, these are arguably more valuable than the turbos.
So yeah, and that's the thing is like this one's actually. I mean, it needs work, but I mean, if you're looking for a good Corvair that you can make some money on, this car is like primo for that. But yeah, when I found out that they're kind of like slowly appreciating, I think it's kind of cool because it's one of those things where it's like it's more livable and more reliable than a Volkswagen of the era, but you still
Yes.
get that kind of air cooled,
Right.
fun car to drive.
And it has a
thing.
better number of cylinders.
That is true.
Yeah.
And it's also not a Porsche.
Correct.
Yeah, so I thought that was a really cool little trend that I found.
I have an interesting little Corvair factoid to inject from this past week.
Ooh.
I visited with my maternal grandmother to look through a scrapbook to see if she had any photos of my grandfather, who is now deceased. He built in the late 1990s a custom car built on a Corvair wagon called the Futura, which, by weird methods and mechanisms, Wayne Carini now owns and will be restoring.
Very cool.
And he asked us personally for photos to see if we had any from the build and or with him buy the car. We do not. They were all in a large binder that was originally sold with the car and then lost. But we had one good non-digital photo of the car in the driveway anyway from 98, so I had that scanned in, and I had at least had some other photos of my grandfather buy some other cars. But yeah, I like Corvair is like I've been
That's
intimately
super
familiar
cool.
with the Futura.
Yeah, it's like a Greenbrier, but like lowered.
He based it on the Waimea concept.
Yeah, that's the Waimea right there. I see it. I get it. That's super cool. Yeah, it looks like a Greenbrier.
So I
Like-
grew up with my grandfather building this car.
That's super duper cool. I see why Wayne Carini's all about it. Because, yeah, it's got like...
He hates it because it doesn't conform to any like car show specifications, but he loves it because of its quirkiness.
Yeah, this is totally...
So anyway, this is based on a Corvair wagon loosely, and it's got like a Ford glass top front section and
it's got sideways mounted, it looks like...
Pontiac headlights.
Pontiac headlights, yep. So it's got the upright Pontiac headlights.
Wild.
But it's a weird car.
Also,
man.
another car that I'm listing right now is a 65 Grand Prix, which is...
Probably has the same headlights.
That's why I noticed those headlights. I'm like, those are 65 Grand Prix headlights.
Yep. Yeah, I remember he took forever to find the bezels for that. But anyway, it's weird that Corvairs are popular this week because, yeah, that...
That's a very, very cool car. And there's Wayne Carini. God, Wayne Carini's so short.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, though. Both Blake, my uncle, and I have talked to him a little bit because we would love to have the car back, obviously, but...
Well,
We'll see.
fun fact, Wayne Carini is the person that I attribute most of my interest in classic cars over performance stuff. Because
that makes perfect sense.
it was kind of watching chasing classic cars like 10 years ago that like really like started to turn me from like the whole import
Right, you
tuner
started
thing.
to see the quirks of the old cars, like,
And
wow,
I'm
that's
like,
way cooler.
This
than...
is like way cooler than a lowered IS 300 with like stance wheels. Like this is way cooler. And
Wheels are not a build!
yeah, and so yeah, it was actually chasing classic cars and Wayne Carini that got me like really interested in this stuff and helped kind of refoster my love for pre-war stuff. So
Wayne's a nice
thank you.
guy. He bought my boss's Dino in 2014.
I guess I only mentioned the word pre-war, but Dylan was so excited for that bell. I saw him reaching for it. and he
Word of that bell.
Just barely couldn't reach it.
Hit me with that.
I love the phrasing also of he's so short, but he's a nice guy, as though the general rule.
I mean, the Napoleon complex. I mean, so many short people just
Hot
suck.
take.
TIL, short people are angry.
Like I love my friend Isaac, but he's like 5 feet tall and he's always mad.
I have no comment, really. I got
every-
nothing.
Everybody knows like short, just like angry. At
Everybody knows.
stuff. They're all
About
like
to spit some universal
they're
truth
all like,
here.
they're all like Gimli from the
This
from like
motherfucker spitting.
from like the Lord of the Rings. They're just like "Rah!" Like great friends, and they're always just so salty.
I'm salty. I'm not that short.
I guess like salt like sinks to the bottom. The sediment sinks to the bottom. and
Wow.
Especially when the water evaporates. Whoa.
Oh, there
and
we
we
go.
know with me. Dehydration. There you go.
Next time on Carbitrage, eugenics.
So I want to talk about... I can't segue on that. I want to talk about General Motors and their lack of cars.
Well, yes.
So we talked about this
Yeah.
at great length. GM pulled a Ford. They essentially abandoned all of their cars. Turns out that's largely just in the U.S. market because their best-selling vehicle in China, which is the
a s-
world's largest auto
probably a
market right now,
sedan.
is a car. And do you want to know what make it is?
A Buick.
It is really good answer, but no, it is not. It is
Oh,
actually a Chevrolet and is electric microcar.
Literally
that
want
is
that right now.
$4,200.
Why is that not available to me?
I don't know. but
Mary Barra is a Nazi.
it's,
Are we
Bolt.
just jumping right into the eugenics section of the podcast?
I want that car so damn bad. Look how perfect
It's like
that
a
is.
reincarnated boxy K-car Honda van from the 80s.
Yeah, that's
It's
terrific.
that
perfect.
GM now makes as an electric.
What's
it's-
it called?
I'll find
Quish
out.
Quash or something.
Quash.
Well, I mean, you see on the back, it's a Wuling, which I think is a Chevy,
It's Chevy
Chinese
Wuling,
brand. Yeah.
Oh, the Wuling, they make the L390, which
It's called
is
the Wuling Mini.
I like that. Well, actually, interestingly enough, Wuling also makes a knockoff Mini called the L390, which was so bad.
Probably better than the Mini.
It was actually a bit shit, and it was so bad on crash test ratings that I think Wuling was like kicked out of like Korea or something because it was like that unsafe.
Well, don't crash that.
Yeah, I know, right? It just makes you a better driver. But also,
Like,
I want that. I
this is
want
the
it.
segment and the
It's cute.
power I like.
I want
I
this car.
love that it's white too because it just enhances the whole toilet vibe.
Oh, yeah.
It
It
really
looks
does.
like a toilet.
It does.
I love that in every way. And actually, with the separate with the floating roof line, it looks like a toilet lid.
Yeah.
yeah. I could
This
flip
is
the whole...
this is just a toilet of a car.
Perfect. So the Chevy
I-
Toilet is the best-selling car that they sell in China.
I love that.
Overview it.
And actually, you know what? Chevy could even like one up Toyota, and Toyota abandoned the name Toyolette for Toyopet,
Let's
and
just-
they could just do the Toyolette.
Captive import Chevy Toilet.
Yeah, there you go. Chevy Toyolette.
Toilet.
That'd be wonderful. Actually, the Toyota Toyolette, captive imported, as Toyota's name, it would be so meta, and nobody would get it. It'd be amazing.
It outsells the next best American car 10-1,
I love that.
which is the Model 3.
I love that so much. I love that there's that many Chevy Toyolettes driving around.
And it's a brand new thing. Like, this is
I
like,
really want a Wuling Mini, like quite badly. Can I buy it on Alibaba? And how much does it cost?
I don't know, but you can buy a Chengchi
Changli
Changli
Namachi.
Namekia, whatever. Yeah. That. Just buy that. It's
Namekia?
$1,000.
The Namekia? Yeah, because the Namekia is actually better than
Isn't
a
that
golf cart.
where Piccolo from DBZ's from?
Yes.
Planet Namek.
Yeah, I think so. But no, that is the car that Jalopnik imported from Alibaba.com.
That's amazing.
And they're like, this is actually better than a golf cart. Like, why do golf carts exist? I was driving past Allianz Field. I noticed that their security car is actually a Changli Namekia. I was very excited. I think I texted Burger like immediately.
Yep, you did. And then we talked about it like 3 days later on that podcast, and there were no complaints.
No, there weren't. It's wonderful. It's great news. So, I learned another thing from work the
I
other
am
day.
terrified.
You should be. Did you know that at one point, from Sears, you could purchase a rear-wheel drive manual boxer-powered two-door convertible?
I did not know that, but you used to be able to buy full houses out of the Sears catalog.
Exactly. It's
So
the same era. You could find very cool things.
I know where that came from.
He finds things.
You did. Congratulations. Doc.
Found a sock.
Wow.
All right.
It is
Well,
a clean sock.
I hope. I hope you weren't pulling your pud, and we just all had to touch that. But look, there's a 2010 Sears motor buggy. You have to double tap it. 'cause
You
it's
said
pre-
2010.
said you-
Sorry, it's a 1910.
You lose a tap.
There we go.
Pre-World
It's a
War One.
1910 Sears motor buggy. If it was a 2010 Sears, it'd still be in business today. 'Cause
I'm
I would
like,
buy it.
Sears Roebuck, I believe, was in bankruptcy in 2010. Maybe not.
I've been in bankruptcy for the last 50 years, probably.
That
But
would probably
That's
be
why it's powered by Milwaukee drill batteries.
But this is no.
M18.
That's why the chassis is red. But yeah, no, you can get it. So see, I wasn't wrong. It is a boxer. It is a convertible. It is manual. And it is rear-wheel drive.
Air-cooled 107 cubic inch twin cylinder. That's actually a small engine.
Yeah. It's a small displacement boxer. It's a great
Friction
engine.
drive.
Don't know what that means, but it is
Probably
what it is.
has a torque converter
Just
and
a
no gears.
No, I think it's just got a band clutch.
Yeah,
and then
probably.
A gear.
Yeah, that'd be about right. So there you go.
Is that actually a manual? Though?
Yes,
That's more
it
like
is.
that's more like a Lenko.
It's a manual
It's like a Lenko.
because you have to manually put it into reverse.
No clutch pedal.
I bet there is.
No,
Actually, no, there is
There's a lever.
Yeah, there's a clutch lever. So it's a manual.
Okay, fine. Clutch, manual, fine.
Yeah, that's a clutch, and it's even got a rear window.
Barely.
It's pretty cool. So anyway, that sold for how much? money?
$20,000.
Think of all the worst vehicles that you could drive for $20,000. You could buy a Kia Seltos for that.
Look at that engine. Oh my God, dude, the fans are beautiful.
It's actually really cool. Like, it's a cool car.
Wow, that looks way more modern than 1910.
Yeah,
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, that's actually really cool looking.
What the hell's on the left side here?
I believe a radiator or a fuel tank. I don't know.
This crap?
I don't know what that is.
I see like copper lines coming off of it, so maybe
That could be a radiator.
Maybe it's oil. I bet it's oil.
Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe it could be.
It's probably total loss.
Yeah,
Yes.
no,
So
it
that's
guaranteed
probably
it's
your
a total
oil
loss,
reservoir
yeah.
above
Oh
that.
yeah, of course it was. Yeah,
Yeah, I
other
remember.
oiling systems were like 1930s, so gross. Okay, and of course it's got plumbing pipe exhaust because all cars did. Does that have twin mufflers?
Yeah.
It has twin chain drive also.
Yeah, it's
This is
super cool.
pre-differential.
Yeah, it's
No, look
super
at,
cool.
Look at the size of the bell housing on that frickin' thing. I mean, the flywheel must be huge.
Yeah, the thing's fucking rad. I told you. You weren't excited.
I
and
still
I'm
hate
excited.
it with all of my being, but the fact that it clearly is draining the oil into the exhaust, because this little thing right here clearly has a tube out of the crankcase
Yep.
into the exhaust.
Beautiful.
They're just betting on it being hot enough where it turns into smoke.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
assume.
It's wonderful.
But
It's,
those fans are like, again, those look like they're from the 50s.
yeah, this is a really cool belt.
So you just have oil pooling in your exhaust while it warms up, and then eventually it'll get hot enough.
You wonder where those like eBay kits came from, where you could put a fuel injector in and a spark plug in your exhaust?
Sure.
Yep.
It's
Fast and the
this
Furious was born with this Sears 1910 convertible.
The Sears motor, 1910 Sears motor wagon
And it-
was the first getaway car with a
It
smoke
looks
screen.
like it's positioned under the vehicle,
Yes.
so
It's
if
actually
you,
got a low center of gravity.
if you blow the welds on your intake, you will lose your floor pan.
Quite literally, yes. So this is a
Amateurs don't race with V twins. Or not flat twin, I guess. Yeah.
flat twin.
Wow.
It's very cool. It is also quite possibly one of the least aerodynamic vehicles I've
Yeah, that's
ever
just
seen.
it's got a scoop.
It literally has a giant trash bag of a roof that just slows you down.
I mean, it has to top out at 30 miles an hour.
I
Can
would
it-
be shocked.
Tops.
I don't know how fast this would go. However, I do know that I would buy this and I'd use it in the new London to New Brighton run because I can't afford to go to the London to Brighton run. So
Is
let's
this-
do the one that's in Minnesota.
I think this is saying that this was the car that was used in the catalog.
Very cool.
Which, I mean, they're all hand drawn at that point, so like
Some man drew a picture of this vehicle.
he was looking at this car though.
This is the one he
His
looked at.
eyeballs translating the every line.
This is very cool.
I want to see the catalog so I can see the hand drawn twin cylinder
I want to see the
engine.
sales pitch on this car.
I don't want to see that. But
That sounds wonderful.
No.
The sales pitch.
although it would be, what was the parlance called back then? It was like international speak or something like that.
I have no
It
idea.
was like there's an actual term for like the way that people talked in like propaganda videos for like military and sales and like better hand behind there.
Yeah,
Look
whatever
at
that is.
the great new aerodynamic shape of Dodge. You'll only find it here with Dodge. The torque, flight, push button automatic drive.
If you actually tell me what that is, I'll actually look into that and I'll start talking like that every day of my life for the rest of my life.
There is a
love
word
that.
for it. I refuse to
Yes.
look into it because I hate it. But you now know.
Well, no, I'm going to talk like this from now on. For the rest of the podcast.
Everyone, please send help. help me.
Well, you know who else needs help?
Help. Oh, thank you. As I'm like traumatized, you throw me into my next topic. So I want to talk about it's an evolution of a Minnesota company called Honeywell Incorporated. Clearly, you guys have all heard of Honeywell, right?
Yeah, they got a kind of ugly looking building in northeast Minneapolis.
And another ugly-looking building in Golden Valley.
They have a lot of ugly looking buildings.
Well, I mean, they weren't just known for ugly-looking buildings. They were also known for being the original manufacturers, mass producers of gas-driven turbochargers.
Hey,
That
Corvair.
spun off into Garret turbocharger. Yes,
Corvair.
The Corvair had a Honeywell
Turbo.
Garret turbo.
wow.
I'm sorry for the stalling, but my link didn't come through, so I'm pulling that up right now. So anyway, I think
That's why my next link is literally just the
The-
hyperlink.
the 60s.
To make sure it works.
they came out with this. They spun Garret off in the early 2000s as its own company, and they straddled it with a lot of like bad debt from Honeywell as kind of a strategic move because like the economy was getting not great around that time for a few years. But they never went bankrupt or anything like that. They kept making turbos. They're still, like, my Fiat's got a Garret turbo. Like, all the Ford stuff's got Garret turbos. What do you hear?
I heard an engine of sorts. At first, I thought it was a train, but it was something else.
No, you'll hear the dull grumble.
That's what I thought I heard, but it wasn't.
Well, like everyone from BMW to Fiat to domestics, like they all, by and large, they either use KKK turbo louder, Garret, or IHI or something like that.
Well,
but Garret supplies.
I'll tell
a
you that
huge
KKK
number.
turbo louder is a terrible brand of in the United States. So,
Yep. Yeah. it's
so
just
you
like
should
the
buy some Garretts.
Garret. So Garret, God damn it, Garret makes good turbos. They finally, though, unfortunately, and I'm sure they're saying due to COVID, actually filing for bankruptcy. But what this actually means is Chapter 11, not Chapter 7.
Oh, so they're just going to shed.
they're going to shed the debt,
Right.
reorganize, and keep making turbos.
Yeah,
so
so
this will be better.
there's no way that they're going to get Chapter 7 when turbochargers are the only way to make a internal combustion engine feasible these days.
Correct. Everything sold is turbocharged.
It has to be.
Yeah, gas.
It literally has to be, yeah.
So this is actually great news because it means that they'll just restructure, keep making turbos, and ideally the product will cost less and they'll have more money for R&D because they're not straddled with this huge debt payment.
That sounds wonderful.
I mean, I like Honeywell as a company, but that was kind of a dick move to Garret.
It kind of actually can see the business standpoint with Honeywell because about how long ago they did that in like the
About 16 years ago.
about 16 years ago. So that's like when the writing was on the wall that you're going to have to do turbochargers.
Yep.
So it makes sense pre-recession to spin off that company, take all your bad debt, put it on that company. That is probably going to be the most successful spin-off that you could ever possibly have at the best time for it to be a spin-off company.
Yeah, this is a
So
blessing in disguise.
I don't think that was a dick move on Honeywell. I think that was a really good survival tactic on Honeywell. Now, if Honeywell
Well, it was both.
I think if Honeywell did a dick move by Honeywell would be more like make a manual transmission company and then straddle them with bad debt. Like doing something like
Yeah,
that.
that's true. It wouldn't surprise me if they like pioneered one of the major, like Muncie or something like that,
Yeah.
transmission companies. They might have.
Like,
They're Eaton.
but I mean, like that's the thing. Like, if they spun off like something like Muncie, where it's like they're only known for manuals,
Right.
and then giving them a shitload of bad debt, that would be a dick move.
Yep.
But giving it to a company that is likely going to be the largest growing part of their company, and spin that off separately for bad debt is a very, very good survival tactic.
Do we know when Garrett started getting contracts with OEMs?
1964.
Well, I suppose when they were still a division of Honeywell.
I was gonna say, like the Turbo Rocket Fire Olds used the Garret Turbo,
Sure.
like all this other stuff.
Corvair used to Garret.
Sure.
Yeah.
So-
So it's the
But
60s.
there was kind of a lull, I guess, until like the 80s when Chrysler started turboing everything.
Yeah.
What did they use?
Chrysler uses whole set, which is a
But I
common
mean,
sub-brand.
Porsche they used Garret.
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Porsche used
Well,
Garret.
no, sorry, they use KKKs.
So they used KKK.
So did Audi.
I know Subaru's always used IHI.
I feel like Mercedes used Garret.
They might have. I know IHI was Subaru.
My turbo diesel had a Garret.
Mitsubishi was in-house. Ripped off of an IHI. Because that's how Mitsubishi works.
Yep.
So
It's different, you see. Well,
Mitsubishi's
but it isn't.
technically speaking, Mitsubishi is just a Chinese company from 10 years ago. They're just ripping it off like things that just already exist.
you're saying
I love how Chrysler's like playful shadiness rubbed off on Mitsubishi
I know
so
yeah.
much.
No, it didn't even rub off. Is like they were like perfect like bed partners because
Yeah.
Mitsubishi like even like all my like pre-war knowledge I have about Mitsubishi because like I was writing for when I've been writing for Japanese nostalgia car, I do a lot of research on pre-war stuff because I think it's like super interesting pre-war Japan, and Mitsubishi was like super duper sketchy even back then. They've always been sketchy as hell, and like the Japanese Zero like had really sketchy problems that were totally just Mitsubishi build quality problems.
Yeah.
And it's just like they just paid people off. Like the dude that like ran Mitsubishi. Like, they say he was a samurai. I think he was Yakuza, because he's more like just like shady gangster than he is, like, honorable samurai.
So you're saying in 10 years we'll have a Super Mirage?
Probably.
I don't know if in 10 years the U.S. market will have Mitsubishi.
Doesn't matter about the U.S. market.
Actually,
And it won't be Mitsubishi; it'll be the Chinese manufacturers making the Super Mirage.
if I'm not mistaken, I think Mitsubishi.
So the Super Mirage already exists?
Well, it
they
does as
do.
the Mirage, but like Chinese will find a way to make it cheaper and then
Sure.
undercut.
There is
Mitsubishi with
a
it.
which is
all-wheel drive
impressive.
1.6 liter Mirage that you can get. You buy a normal Mirage, you take it to Finland, they fit it with all the stuff for rally racing.
Okay.
And I love the Mirage. It's our favorite car here.
It is.
It's been
test
car
drove
of the
one.
year
Well,
every year.
It was tied in 2019 with two other cars, the Mark V Supra and the G70 manual.
It was also rated the best existing Mitsubishi Mirage.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Mitsubishi currently holds the two worst-selling consumer vehicles in the United States, but neither of them is the Mirage.
Yes, the Mirage is literally their saving grace, and I'm so thrilled by that because the Mirage is fucking awesome. I love.
They're
the Mirage.
hilarious. I test drove one.
They're really fun.
I
Like,
drove
they're
Kuas, I
super
loved it.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I honestly, realistically, it is very hard for me to not want a Mirage. But my thing is, I just want to get every single option with a manual transmission
Yeah.
to get a Mirage.
You can do that, can't you?
Yeah, you can. But I mean, like, it's just now to get it in the color I want, I have to get a used one.
It's like buying a Kazashi, trying to find that four-cylinder with like the limited trim, but front-wheel drive and manual.
Yeah.
That's super hard to find.
It's very, very difficult. And also, a Kazashi is another very problematic car because I really want that.
I never look at what group I'm commenting in because I'm just retarded. But like in MNCEC, somebody had asked like, "What's the best all-wheel drive car you can buy from $5,000 to $7,000?" I'm like, Suzuki Kazashi, period. And like it got more likes
Those
than anything else in that
are-
comment thread.
Are those $7,000?
The all-wheel drive ones, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The
Okay,
V6
I guess,
ones,
yeah.
yeah.
I had
the,
no
the
idea
manual
those were,
ones.
those were even available in all-wheel drive. I assumed they were just.
Oh, those are
Most
big
of them
frame
are.
drive. Yeah,
Wow.
Most
of
are
them
all-wheel drive V6.
That's really cool.
But like the really high trim four-cylinder manual are all front-wheel drive.
I would
No.
actually.
No, you could get the manual with the four-cylinder and all-wheel drive.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
I know.
that's the rare one.
But I would say the the Suzuki Kazashi is the best looking car of the like second malaise or recession era.
They're very handsome.
It
They're
is that
really,
car will
really great
it will
looking.
age exactly as it was introduced. Like
I
that car
think-
just won't change in
No,
perception.
and I think it looks beautiful now, and it really took the oh shit moment of we suddenly have pedestrian safety standards that are being forced upon us like right now.
it was also
and
the
they made it
first
work.
and only car to pull off those fake exhaust tips.
And it looks so good.
Yeah, like I think it
It's not-
predated the Lexus LS, which
I
was the
did,
first
yeah.
production car to like really use them.
It looks so good. I love the.
I remember the Super Bowl ad for the Kazashi. I'm like,
I love that. It's one of those things like Japan, like they can. That's a very
What is
Japanese
this?
shape. That's very good, but at the same time,
good.
Japan can also have a very quote unquote Japanese shape that's also very bad.
Yes.
And with that, I've got great news.
Okay, is that the Dacia Sandero?
No, there is a new Mitsuoka, and it's called the Buddy.
And what form factor is the Buddy?
Oh, it's a.
On land
Yeah.
party.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Oh, we see part of the hood.
Perfect.
Oh.
I'm
Oh,
excited.
there's the headlights on. Oh, and there's a countdown.
Oh shit. A month and 2 days and 19 hours, 12 minutes and 35 seconds right now.
You know, having driven here in a Mustang 2, that looks a lot like a Mustang 2 hood for some reason.
Maybe they're making
They had a lot of leftover hoods.
maybe they're
The
making
lines
a
are very
Mustang 2
similar.
out of like an existing Tesla Model 3 or something.
That would be hilarious.
But Mitsuoka, they're kings of making cars that look horrific, like just truly awful. Just you can't enjoy it. Like even the names are often terrible. Like the Mitsuoka Vute. It is like a postmodern front end gaffed onto a Nissan Versa.
That's excellent.
They also made the Mitsuoka Orishi, which was Japan's second V6 supercar that was put into production, and that used a Toyota 3.3 V6 and automatic transmission, and it kind of looked like a squid.
Really?
Yeah. Then actually they've made some cool cars as well, because they actually made one that the drift community has just discovered called the Mitsuoka Lucid. And the Lucid is like a Zephyr Golden Spirit, like those 1980s postmodern cars based off Mustangs.
Yep.
But they based it off of an S13.
That's really cool.
So like it's an automatic SR20, but you can easily manual swap them. And now S chassis cars have gotten so expensive that actually the Mitsuoka Lucid is cheaper than most of them. They've got a longer wheelbase, and now they're actually a better drift car because of the longer wheelbase, and they still have like the double wishbone front suspension and everything.
What did we pick? I know we've covered it was probably months ago now, but like the best replacement drift car chassis to replace like the S chassis cars, which are just getting ridiculously expensive. Did we pick BRZ?
I think so. No, because the BRZ has terrible suspension.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. You have to go back because I can't remember. Because I don't think you can.
Okay,
Even can.
if you guys just listened to that episode, please just tell us in the Facebook comments what we're missing because I don't remember.
Yeah, that was a few months ago.
I'd have to look through the podcast notes, but we definitely had some decent recommendations.
That's interesting though, because like part of the appeal with the S chassis cars is they're like unnaturally long wheelbase given their overall length.
In the Mitsuoka Lucid adds like 2 feet to it.
That's ridiculous.
It's insane. It's designed to look like it's got an inline 8. And I'm pretty sure you could probably fit an inline 8 in that.
What was the GM or sorry, no, not even necessarily GM, but the car we were talking about earlier, the C-body.
The C-body?
Oh,
Isn't that rear-wheel drive with an unnaturally long wheelbase?
yes, but it's also like 5,000 pounds and 2 feet off the ground.
Perfect. That's the new drift car.
Oh God, no.
C-body.
It's been done with enough
God.
enough power and enough steering angle. You can get anything done.
That's true. But
I do like the Camerica Cadillac, whatever that thing is.
I'm not gonna lie, the Mitsuoka Buddy, great name by the way. I like the name Buddy. They've gotten better. It's better than Vute
Or Scepter.
or Arishi, which is actually kind of cool.
Or G-Spot, or whatever that car was called.
Oh God, they had some really bad names actually. Yeah. Mitsuoka, just their normal names are just bad. Like they're really bad.
Was it the Areshi, that like super weird looking coupe thing?
Yeah, that was that mid-engine supercar using literally a Sienna drivetrain. It looks like a
2
squid.
GRFE?
Yeah.
No.
It was a
No?
3. It's a
3.3.
3.3.
3.3.
It was a 3MZ.
It's a
like,
sludge.
Wow.
A sludge master. Yeah, it was.
Oh, they don't care.
The 1MZs are sludgy motors, but yeah, they keep running.
They'll just be full of sludge, and that's fine.
Like, there's a little oil that gets through the sludge. It's fine.
I'm just going Goonet to show you some Mitsuoka names, and so you can be really happy about how much better this name is than their standard nomenclature.
I'm just excited about the Guangxi Chumpchi.
The Guangxi Chumpchi. I wonder if this will be just like a Guangxi Chumpchi that's just got a very cool body on it. And from what we can tell from that one photo,
The Chumpchi was a nice looking car.
from that one photo they had where you could barely see any of it, it looks kind of cool almost.
I mean, I just like to think that they have. It's like the parts bin thing from Ford. Like they all have one common like stolen platform that they just kind of just fudge a little bit. It's like MEB, but like it's like CSP, like China stolen platform.
So these are the names of Mitsuokas. Just going down the list at Guna Exchange. The Dore.
The Explorer.
Yeah, the Galoo.
Galoo? Is the Galoo a ute? It better be.
It is not. The Lucid, the Like, the Himiko, the Arishi, the Vute. They've got just
These
all
aren't
their names.
inspired names.
I want the
terrible
View
names.
to be like an illegally imported Saturn View converted into a ute.
Oh yeah,
So it's a Vute.
I'm fine with that.
We're all
Especially
about
if
the
it's
low
like
brain, just mashing two words together.
as long as it's the version that has the Honda V6, because
Yes,
that like
yeah.
the base one had like that weird Opel engine or something like that. It was a Euro parts bin engine.
They're a really weird model
yeah
in general.
I think it took the Saturn L300 V6, which
Yeah.
was the Euro motor.
So I've got some more wonderful names. The Nurura, the Ryoga, the Ryugi, the
So
Yuga, and the Zero.
Mitsuoka just goes into bathrooms with microphones and
Just the noise that
copies
you
the
make.
noises into phonetic names, and
Yes.
that is the names of their car.
Exactly what they do. That's the Vute, by the way.
Oh, I love it.
That is the Vute.
That is like the old Jaguar XK. What? Or,
yeah,
no,
it's-
the what do they call it?
Type 2.
Type
a
2.
Series 2.
Yeah, Series 2.
It's a Jaguar Series 2 based off of a, like,
I saw a red one of those on the way down
Versa.
here.
So you did see something.
I did. I
see
forgot
something.
about it, but yes, I'm like, ew, man, they're so bouncy.
You
Like,
could,
they're designed for no roads.
well, if it makes you feel any better, most Mitsuoka Vutes are like $14,000. You can get one that's a little clapped out for about $5,000.
Perfect.
That's pretty cool.
How long ago did they start making those?
Early 2000s?
Oh, so I can't import one yet.
Not yet.
I
but,
could have my Avantime before
1998.
I could import that. Oh,
Yeah, and they made it until 2018.
Wow.
Very
You
fun.
could get it in pink.
I don't care about that as much.
Love that mashup of like vintage front end styling with all the safety requirements that require you to have giant A-pillars and like high door
That's
sills.
Perfect,
and-
because we had the Hyundai XG300L.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's the thing that looks like a really shitty knockoff of the Mercedes E-Class or S-Type.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll show
God,
you
the people that own those, they
Or
sure
the-
loved them.
The Kia Amante.
Oh, yeah.
It is actually the
Same
Hyundai
thing,
version
yep.
of a Kia Amante.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same car.
There you go.
I love that.
Interestingly enough, one of the first cars to have LED turn signals.
That's
Wow.
Yep,
weird.
Pioneers.
there you go.
We're gonna
Mercedes
steal
beat him on the brake lights, but... Okay.
What was the older one? I think it was the XG300. Shit, this is just showing me the newer one. Oh well, they had one that was really just tragic looking, from the early.
Oh, yeah.
Or
They-
the
really bad.
I really respect the glow up of Kia Hyundai though.
Actually,
oh, yeah.
They've come so far.
Well, all they did was poach people that know how to design shit.
Yes. That's what you have to do.
It's like they figured out drivetrains a long time ago, to be honest, but they didn't figure out
They
suspension
used a lot of
or
Mitsubishi
styling.
drivetrains
Well, yeah,
early
that's
on
what it
too.
is. So they figure out Mitsubishi
But they
drivetrains,
improved
which
them.
are actually
Yes.
just like 1980s.
So they don't burn oil?
Yeah, they're just like 1980s Toyotas basically at this
Yeah.
point,
I
because
think
it's
they just-
basically just hand-me-downs of hand-me-downs.
They just made like a better service manual for it.
Yeah.
I swear, I think it's probably the
People-
same engine, but like, yeah, just change the oil more often with better oil. Like, oh, okay, that actually solved the problem. Thank you.
Weird. Yeah, it
We
works
put
now.
2 more bolts in the mains so the crank doesn't walk, and there you go.
But yeah, so Hyundai has had a glow up. However, I do want to note that a terrible looking car was recently imported to America because I saw it. Somebody in Radwood had a Subaru Impreza Casablanca.
What the hell is
I'm
that?
gonna have to Google that.
Oh boy!
Oh wow.
Oh, this thing is a foot of a car.
Well, all Subarus are.
Oh no! Oh no!
They're like friendly looking feet.
Oh,
Aye.
we were just talking
What?
about
This
the-
is exactly what I mean. Oh my
It is
god.
a foot of a car.
They made this?
This is an actual Subaru. That's
No.
a real life Subaru.
Oh my goodness.
That is just an early Impreza wagon that somebody stapled a Zimmer body kit onto.
And Subaru was that person.
It's not even like the front fenders of this. It's just the front clip.
It literally is.
Oh no, they did the back too. Let me show you.
They did the whole car. I did
There's
a
the
whole
back.
I did a whole write up on this car for Japanese nostalgia car at one point.
There's a sedan too.
Yeah. Oh, you can get in sedans, wagons.
God.
You even get the coupe,
So those are that's just taillights.
taillights, and a bumper.
You know, I bet you the Casablanca front and rear ends are probably worth a fortune on these cars.
Yeah.
Probably. But anyway, somebody actually
sold.
Japan only.
my
But somebody imported one because the second it turned 25 years, somebody imported one.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Also, we should note that they've also got bespoke wheels as well.
I seen to that.
I had to use the term
They
bespoke.
they have unique wheels. We'll put it that way.
I had to use the term bespoke for.
Bespoke. Yeah, the front end you can use the word bespoke on.
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I'm writing articles, when there's like something that's just like really funky in a car, like doesn't work, I'll throw in the word bespoke just so my editor can change it, and it makes me laugh. Just like it's a bespoke like carburetor clean or air cleaner. It's just like awful looking. Looks like a foot. Anyway, Eric, what's your last note that you want to put in here?
Sorry, I'm still recovering from bespoke. So, okay. All right. Back into actual news that isn't this goddamn Casablanca abomination. It's another EV thing. Tesla finally had their event, which they, for some godforsaken reason, called Battery Day. I'm like,
Is this when they throw their old batteries into the ocean?
yeah, this was Clippy actually replaced Elon Musk in this particular event, and he was trying to help you throw your old batteries into the ocean.
Thoughtful.
Did they
Announcing their plan to throw the old Model S batteries into the ocean, yes.
Did they have like everybody build like homemade siege equipment and like see how far you could heave your Tesla battery into the ocean?
Yeah, so they announced a new carbon fiber trebuchet. It's really lovely. No, that didn't happen. So Battery Day was really a vehicle announcement day where they finally came and put pen to paper with the new Model S revision, which has been...
The Series 3.
People know what's happening. Yeah, for like the last year. They've just been waiting for the pre-orders to open up. But basically what it is, it's a triple motor, so the new Tesla Roadster drivetrain gets
cool.
shoved
All right.
into the S,
Very cool.
along with some new battery chemistry and layout. So this new motor combination brings the car over like I think it's almost 2,000 horsepower now. 0 to
So
60 is sub 2
it's-
seconds. The quarter mile's now 9.5.
I love that. So they've effectively made, what was the one that Top Gear that Richard Hammond ruined?
Probably the original Roadster.
No, that was the Romanian one. What was that called? The Remace.
Oh, the Remace,
Yeah. Thank you. Sound engineer Corey. saved the
Yeah,
day.
except Tesla has like kept on having people employed, so they've just been like making this into a sedan you can buy.
Perfect.
But it conveniently came like a week after Lucid finally announced their vehicle with the specifications and everything. They're just like, we're better than our competition in this, and this, and Tesla's just like, yeah, here's a new car, and it's just like it makes a new column and shifts the entire graph down on like everything they've done, except for I think motor power density. Lucid really kicks the shit out of them with that because their motor is one of the through shaft ones where the differential is actually built
cool.
into the motor and the
Yeah.
left axle goes through the rotor,
Okay.
which is genius. Tesla still uses a differential and a gear reduction.
Yeah, so
So-
that's actually, you have drive one loss there.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that too. But I mean, just the density of the motor, you can pack so much power, and the cooling's easier too.
Okay.
It's all just it's very radial that way. So really, I want to give props to Lucid on their motor. That thing's awesome. But you can't ignore the freaking power and just the muskness of this thing.
Oh, it's hilarious. That's just a big, yeah.
But I think
That's like the guy that drops trow in the middle of a fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
a well-endowed man that drops trout.
Yeah, just whips his penis out in the middle of a fist fight.
You see a disargument among two other people, and you just drop trout to make them not remember what they were fighting about.
To assert your dominance, you drop your pants.
I have never seen that happen, but I think it would be very effective. Just do that in the presidential debate.
I have not seen full nudity, but I have seen scenes. I've watched somebody get into a fight and push somebody outside of a Dollar General and then drop their pants on the ground.
Wow, it's middle school all over again.
I did see that once, and it was two grown-ass adults that were
Wow.
fighting. So yeah,
So the next innovation was
Georgia.
batteries, which is really what gives you the performance. Because
Yes.
the limiting factor isn't the motor. Like the motors in my car can hit
That's-
all 1,000 horsepower
That's
piece.
how
That's not a problem.
IMIFs get so fast.
Yep.
Those
So you
batteries
upgrade
controllers.
the inverter, which is huge, and then the battery chemistry itself. So if it can't dump current fast enough, you can't get performance. And historically, Tesla's been using in the Model S and X and the original Roadster, they're using 18650s. So
Yeah.
vape batteries. In the Model 3 and the Y, they're using 17300. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. But they're using a wider, thicker cell that they can get a little more density out of.
Okay.
And like that's why those cars can charge faster. It's just that chemistry and the form factor. It's able to dump a little more current. The new Model S is keeping with. I mean, it's going to look very similar to my car still, but they're replacing all of the like soldered-on end caps of the batteries with. And this, I guess, is speculation from another channel I looked at, but something called scuppage, which is just solder directly onto the wrap inside of the battery. So these are
Okay.
just like rolled up aluminum with
Yeah.
some crap in between them and copper. So what they do is they get rid of that one lead in the top, and the entire surface area of the
Okay,
side
so you have
is
way
direct.
less. You have way less resistance. yeah.
Exactly, and
Okay.
the resistance drop is what cuts the heat way down too.
Yeah,
so you
sure.
can pull like 10 times the current from a battery at the same amount of heat load.
Yeah.
And it also drops the actual form factor of the battery pack down a little bit, so you can fit more density in that way.
Okay, cool. That's actually really rad.
So from 18650, they're staying 18 millimeter in diameter, but they're coming up to like 750 millimeter of height. And the thing I'm thinking of, like the scuppage technically requires soldering directly on. So like if you're doing parallel series pairs, that's not going to be a very serviceable pack. Like if you have one cell fail, you can't just like desolder the entire top plate on that and
Yeah.
replace one cell. I feel like you're kind of up a creek with a whole pack. So I'll be curious on that if that's actually what they end up doing. But like they're claiming it's a 50% improvement in battery
wonder-
density.
I wonder if when they do that, they'll just do like smaller packs. So
They
instead of
probably will.
replacing like one battery like you can today, like you'll just replace like 6 at a time.
I think
or
with-
4 at
yeah.
a time. And then you instead of having to replace your whole freaking floor pan, you can just replace like a whole section of it.
I mean, right now
That
they're
would make
4.5
sense.
kilowatt hour blocks. There's
Yeah.
12 of them in my car, 14 of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I mean, you can't just have them all parallel because you'd have like 3.8 volts in your car and you need 400. So yeah, I think like you're saying, they'll probably have more blocks of just
Yeah.
like staggered back.
Which
and forth.
I'm actually cool with, because then just buying one of those blocks,
Yep, that's
it's
not a
going to
big
be
deal.
lower, it's going to be smaller. I'm going to be able to fit it into, say, an IMIF with a Mitsuoka. Like,
Way better for
front end.
swaps, yeah.
That's actually what I'm excited about, because I just, at the end of the day, I don't want a Tesla anything.
No.
I want Tesla technology in dumb cars.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make it Mitsuoka like that shits on Evos.
Can we just be happy that there's competition, so these companies have to dick measure?
Yeah, I love that.
Because that just
That's
makes
wonderful.
it better for every future swap.
Yeah,
that we
that's
wanna
great.
do.
I just whoever can win this dick measuring contest, I'm thrilled with.
And then the hippie stats: 50% more energy density and
Don't care.
68% carbon reduction.
Don't care.
Carbon reduction in terms of production
Yep.
or in terms of
Production.
Don't care.
Yep. So there you go. That's it.
That's very cool. I don't care about the hippie things, but I'm very excited.
That's
for
why
that.
I gave it like 3 seconds
Ooh.
right at the end.
You would be very cool, actually.
What?
Is you could do a hybrid setup where you could have a Ford flathead, and that could be your battery pack, and then you could have some sort of whatever
You
want.
could get flathead noises and speed at the same time.
Perfect.
Oh,
I love that.
I want like flying diagonal colors behind me as I go. Oh,
Well, now I know what I'm going to do when I find a Fisker car. I'm going to have a GM engine explode in it. I'm going to put in a Ford engine.
perfect.
hopefully it's an early one with leather bearings.
This is a leather bearing Fisker Karma. Oh, that'd be wonderful. I'm so excited about Fisker Karmas. I just really want to see it. I want like a cheap Fisker Karma. I know they don't exist, but I just want one to exist.
Before
Just
I
like
bought
a
my car, I
flathead.
looked into it and they were more than my car.
I know, they're very irritating.
Which is absurd.
It's dumb because it's a worse car.
It's a worst car by every
I know,
measure.
I want the Fisker Karma to be so much cheaper.
I know, but the thing is, everyone kind of secretly loves the Fisker car.
I know, it's really annoying. Like,
And Henrik
shit.
Fisker, that's a really good-looking car, but it's also the
that,
size of an MMRisk.
Yeah, no, seriously.
That is the only saving grace, though.
The Fisker Karma
Yeah.
is like, that is the Packard to Tesla's Duesenberg, where it is like,
God damn it! There we go.
like this
moving too far away.
The stuffy hippie owns the Fisker Karma. And it's a really cool car, but the cool guy owns the Tesla.
In 20 years, the Fisker Karma will be a cool thing to see at a show, and my car will be in a scrap heap.
Yes, exactly. So actually, they're going to switch around because Duesenbergs are cooler than Packards. If you have a Packard, you're just a poor person that can't afford a Duesenberg.
hot take.
Hot take.
You're gonna piss off a lot of dead people.
Yeah, I'll piss off a bunch of dead people.